Alright guys, so I stumbled across a plus size, right? I think that's the politically correct term, woke TikToker that is arguing that you are fatphobic. You're fatphobic simply for having a preference to date skinnier people and not fat people. Apparently this is wrong and that you can't naturally be attracted to skinny people or people that are smaller, not plus size, without being fatphobic. Take a look.
Let's talk about dating preferences. This video was so good, you must watch it, and I want to branch off and talk about how it relates to fat phobia and dating. A lot of times when people are asked, why don't you date fat people, trans people, people of color, whatever, they will say, it's just a preference. I'm just not attracted to them. I can't make myself be attracted to someone I'm just not attracted to. The implication here being that preferences are innate, unchanging, and completely independent of any outside factors or societal norms. And therefore, that they are inherently unproblematic. Like, it's not fat phobia, it's just who I am. I can't help it. But I think it's actually a lot more complicated than that. Our desires are not immune to social conditioning. Although, of course, you can't change your sexual orientation, when we see a certain type of body glorified, praised, and labeled as desirable in media, from the time that we can even process those messages, it's not gonna not have an impact on us. And the fact is, at least anecdotally, lots of fat people report being desired by many people. But the piece that isn't there is the social acceptance. And again, that's also true for other marginalized identities. Maybe you are sexually attracted to fat people, but you can't see yourself in a romantic relationship with one because you've never seen that replicated in media. Or maybe you love a fat person, but you're too afraid of what your friends and family would say if you introduced them. Or you're too afraid of what it would say about you to be with someone who is lower on the desirability totem pole.
Yeah, so don't you guys gotta love it? You just love it when you have a group of people who want to shame others into wanting to sleep with them, right? Just because there is a significant portion of society that's not attracted to you, that doesn't mean that you have to make us be attracted to you. It's okay to not be attracted to fat people, just like it's okay not to be attracted to skinny people. But there's some people in our society that want to make a huge deal out of this. And again, I gotta wonder, what is your end game, right? What actually do you want? Because when you are attracted to them, right? Like if you are attracted to bigger people, apparently that's not enough. Apparently you're only attracted to them because it is a fetish.
Growing up as a fat woman, I knew from a very early age that any desire for me was bound to be a fat fetish. It's like because all anyone saw about me was my fatness, and because my desirability as a woman especially was defined by my body, the only possible reason to like me was not only specific attraction to my body, but specific attraction to my fatness. Like I knew I couldn't hide that I was fat, so if someone were to be attracted to me, it would be because of it. And therefore, because something was deeply wrong with them. Because as we all learn, by virtue of existing in the world, fatness just inherently isn't desirable. And to be honest, when I learned of this, it made me extremely uncomfortable because as a fat person, I had not really been objectified before. I thought that I was immune to that. I also didn't want to be defined by my size, and I didn't really want to be confronted with the reality of it, with having a partner who was going to constantly remind me how fat I was because of my internalized fat phobia. In my previous video, we talked about how often people claim they aren't attracted to fat people because of their preferences. But the flip side of that is, any preference for fat bodies is assumed to be a fat fetish. And because of the association with fetishism and the way fat people are viewed as lower in the social hierarchy, that gives people permission to just treat us like the sum of our body parts. But think of how many people actually have a preference for thinness. I often wonder if the thing that makes it a preference and not a fetish is that it's socially sanctioned. And therefore, thin people are more likely to be treated with respect when someone has a preference for their body type. Or at least, people won't be as open about specifically fetishizing their bodies. There's another piece too where, because fatness is thought to be, at worst, indicative of moral failing, and at best, a personality trait, people are more able to separate their romantic desire from their sexual desire when it comes to fat people. Like, fucking fat people is a bit more acceptable if you aren't giving them the emotional intimacy that people, and especially women, are expected to crave.
Yeah, so basically it's damned if you do, damned if you don't with these people. If you don't like her, right, then you're fat phobic, okay? You're afraid of fat people, which, again, I don't think that's the case. Just because you're not attracted to somebody that is a larger person doesn't necessarily mean that you are scared of fat people, okay? But anyways, that's what they're going to call you. They're going to say you're scared of fat people. But if you do like fat people, right, if you are attracted to fat people, then it has to be a fetish. And the reason why is because fatness has not been normalized in our society as something that is desirable, right? She's basically saying that being fat is inherently undesirable because apparently that's the lesson that she's taken away from society. Therefore, if you do like a fat person, it has to be a fetish. Again, this is how people continue to claim victimhood no matter what, right? This person wants to be a victim because, again, there's plenty of people out there, men, that are attracted to larger women, okay? I'm telling you. Again, I don't think that relationships would be possible in the U.S. if that wasn't the case, considering how a significant portion of this country is technically overweight or obese, right? We have an overweight, obese country. Okay, so there's plenty of fat people getting laid. They're getting laid all over the place. Okay, and they're also getting married as well too. Right? That is happening. And it also reminds me of the argument that the woke revolutionaries like to make when it comes to black women. Okay, who, they say are the least desirable in the dating pool among women. Where they say, well, even white guys that want to date us, they're racist. Okay, because the only reason they want to date us is because they have a fetish. It can't be because they genuinely like black women, right? They genuinely enjoy black women. It has to be a fetish because society has taught us that black women are undesirable. That's the exact same argument this plus size TikTok is making about fat people, which is funny because, again, it just shows that these people just want to be victims. They can never be satisfied. Somehow, some way, they're going to try to find a way to say, hey, I'm oppressed, right? There's something that you don't like about me that I can't change or fix. Therefore, I am oppressed. It's kind of funny how that works. And then they do this while also demanding more so-called representation, because that's what she's arguing here. She's saying, well, a lot of the problems is that we have socialized people into accepting being smaller or skinny as desirable. And ultimately, she wants to try to change that. She wants fatness to become the normal. But what she doesn't realize and understand is that things are normalized for a reason, right? There's a reason why society has normalized being a normal sized person, because that is what is normal, right? That is normal, okay? We don't want to promote and try to incentivize people to be fat. The reason why is because it is unhealthy. It has negative downsides. And a lot of people want their partners to live long and healthy lives. And that could be the reason why a lot of people don't desire fat people or plus size people, because they're like, look, if you can't take care of your body, then that probably means that you're not taking care of yourself in other ways, and you may have a shorter lifespan. When you're with somebody, you want to try to be with them as long as you can, right? You want them to be alive as long as possible. But when you're bigger and you're exposing yourself to all types of health conditions unnecessarily, yeah, that creates a problem. People have issues with that. So again, it's not always about, oh, well, I just don't like fat people, or just not liking fat people. There's a whole lot of stuff that comes along with it. Being fat is not good. It's not healthy. It's not something to be celebrated. But these people, they want to be celebrated for being fat. They want to be celebrated for things that are not good, right? Anybody can be fat, okay? Anybody can be fat. That's not something that you should get an award for. You should get a trophy for that, right? But again, that's what a lot of these people want. They want more representation. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they got to understand, we are not glamorizing fatness and obesity for a reason, okay? It's good that people strive to have healthier, fitter bodies, right? That's a good thing for society. It lowers healthcare costs for everybody. It prolongs people's lifespans. It's just generally good for society, right? But nope. We have to guilt trip people into sleeping with people and desiring people who, to some people, a good amount of society, are just not as desirable. We have to guilt trip them because their feelings get hurt, right? Again, that's basically what's going on here. And even if you do decide that, hey, you know what, I do like you, right? I do want to be with you. I do accept you for who you are. You must be doing it because it's a fetish. You can never win with these people. You can never win. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.